Time to break out the tissues.
I'm the vodka.
We're getting personal today.
On the show.
Good morning, Scallywags. So if you have been watching this week, then you know that this whole week has been dedicated to the late, great Stan Lee. And we've talked about, what happened. We've talked about, the MCU actors giving their 2 cents. We've talked about what he's done. But we haven't really gone into what he meant to us. And that's what we're talking about today. The last Monday, if you happened to catch the short video that we released, it kind of had just a quick video clip from each of us, kind of giving our 2 cents worth. I think Chapo was the lucky one because he had a few hours at work before he could do his video.
I don't know if you call that lucky. He had a few hours to stew.
Well, you and I, you were definitely emotional. I was very shaky. And
rage.
Yes,
yeah, that's why he's the Red Lantern.
Yeah, there was more than once that I had some member came up to me at Sam's and asked me a question. I just looked at him. Yes.
I was lucky at my work. It was snowing, so there's not a whole lot of pool demand in snow. I kept going back to. I would get over it. I would stop weeping, and then something else would come up, and I'd bawl again.
I was actually cutting the blooper reel for last week's episodes. When it came across our chat forum that we've got for the show, where we swap articles and things, and I don't really remember. I remember that I immediately stopped doing what I was doing, and I just kind of my first thing I did was I got up and immediately went online to make sure that it was real, and then once I realized that it was. Because I think when you posted it in there, you even said, looking for confirmation.
Yeah.
So I sought confirmation immediately, and once I realized that, this is real, I just remember pacing around my living room and dining room for a good half hour probably, and then went to shoot my video. And I mean, the video that I put on my portion of that video, I was just shaky as hell and not happy at all with what I had recorded, but I had recorded it probably 12 times by that point, and so at that point it was just good enough.
Yeah, mine was one and done, very raw, very in the moment.
I think the more that I filmed it, the more shaky I got, just because I was trying to say what I was feeling and it just wasn't coming out.
No, yeah, I don't think there were words at that moment in time.
I know. I had two. Mine was two. I had to shoot 2 videos, and mine was the second one that I sent in.
Yeah.
Wow, mine was one and done. Woo!
But so we've kind of had some time to process things, and as much as you can anyway. But this, when a celebrity that you're a fan of passes away, it's always a very shocking and definitely an upsetting feeling. But this is somehow different. All week we've talked about how Stan Lee was larger than life and how he was more of an icon than just a celebrity, and how just the different things that he's brought to the world, and today we want to take that to a personal level and kind of go into what he meant to us personally and why. So this may get in fact, to kind of put those videos in perspective, this is actually the second time we're shooting this episode. The first time we just talked, and we were probably half an hour into it and off in left field somewhere.
Yeah, we weren't. It wasn't even
So we
It was about Stan Lee, but it was going the long way around.
Yeah, so we took a break, kind of collected our thoughts, reined it in a little bit, figured out this is what we need to talk about, and so we're going to try this again. So where before we were kind of asking multiple questions, we decided just to narrow it down to just simply one question.
Yep.
What did Stan Lee mean to us personally, and why?
So why don't you just kick it off then?
Okay.
Just we'll just push you out into traffic.
To me, it comes from kind of, I don't know, it's kind of an odd place. I've never made a secret that I was more of a DC fan growing up. But and I hate to keep repeating myself, but how Stan Lee is kind of the Johnny Cash of comics, where you can't be a fan of comics and not appreciate what he's done for the industry. I had kind of a rough go my whole life, and my teenage years being no exception to that. I started collecting comics in the late 80s. Didn't really collect any Marvel until probably the Infinity Gauntlet series came out, and I got really into that. Just little random ones here and there, and then kind of more on a regular basis once the Jim Lee X-Men series came out. But comics were my escape. I've battled with depression, I've battled with health issues, and I've always, of course, been the black sheep and the outcast. So I identified with a lot of the characters that grew on me, namely the X-Men. That they were the outsiders, and not so much. They were kind of based on more of a racial outcast type of situation, but still the outcast portion of that connected with me on a personal level. Where Stan Lee falls into this is, like we've mentioned all week, about just, you watch any clip, whether it's an interview, whether it's a cameo, whether it's just him talking one-on-one with a fan, and he is the same person in all of those categories. He's this happy, always smiling, joking, and always has some of the most inspirational things to say. You see the clip that we posted on Monday's episode, and that was just a quick little video from Stan Lee that went up on YouTube, and talking about what Marvel Comics means and how we are the heroes. The heroes are all people that you can identify with, and it's those inspirational things that kind of pushed me forward, I guess. It's why I made that meme saying thank you for helping us to believe in heroes. Because essentially he was helping us to believe in ourselves, and that's something I desperately needed growing up. So I truly, truly believe that the world is a dimmer place now with him gone. But at the same time, it's nice to see. There's more of an outpouring of remembrance and dedication and just homage than I think any other celebrity that I've ever seen, and that's a good feeling.
To quote Ben Kenobi, I felt a vast disturbance in the force, as if a billion collective souls screamed out at once. Monday was thick. It just felt thick. With the passing of Stan. Stan created a world that generations have been able to enjoy. Not many creators, not many artists out there can create generational works. You can kind of narrow it down. Tolkien, Kane, Schuster, Kirby. There's a handful of big names that create worlds that generations of people get to enjoy. And Stanley was one of them. And I was just thankful that in this time, in this place, and in the vastness of the age of the earth, I was fortunate to live in an era with Stan Lee. I picked up my first Spider-Man book in the late 80s and immediately fell in love with the character of Peter Parker because he was relatable to me. Heading books, trying to figure things out, getting bullied by the jocks, trying to be something he wasn't to catch the eye of this person or that person, and ultimately failing. But yet, at the end of the day, he still went out and tried to be the best possible person he could be by being Spider-Man. And it inspired me to try and be better than my circumstances.
If I can kind of jump in, I know it's kind of become cliche and even somewhat cheesy, but the classic Spider-Man line of "with great power comes great responsibility." I mean, just the lesson that teaches, that if you have power that can be used for good, then you have a moral obligation to do good with it and to help others with it. I mean, and that's exactly what I was talking about when it comes to like the inspirational stuff. I mean, it's like everyone knows that line, and
there are people who've never picked up a comic book in their life and knows that line.
And one of the most iconic comic book characters of all time is based and pushed forward by that.
Yeah, even
premise.
now, what is it, 40 years later?
Yeah.
38, 35, 40 years later, it's still the driving force behind that character. Mm-hmm. And so for me, Stan Lee means acceptance. I truly don't think Stan Lee, at least the last 20 years, had a bad bone in his body. He just wanted everyone to love each other, and to be a part of something bigger. And to me, that's a symbol of trying to bring the vastness that is humanity together underneath one common denominator. Stan didn't care that you were black or you were white or you were Asian. He didn't care whether you were white, a boy or a girl. I really hope he didn't believe about whether you were gay, straight, or trans. I truly think Stan wanted everybody to be accepted for who and what they were. And that spoke volumes to me as a kid, and that speaks volumes to me now.
Everyone's different regardless of what that means.
Yeah. But even though as different as we all are, we're all the same. And Stan brought characters to life that played to everybody's suits. There were families. There were teenagers. There were mutants who gave the civil rights a voice. And that's the kind of thing that Stan's legacy is going to be. Yeah, his characters are going to live throughout time and history, but to me, the fact that Marvel and the characters that Stan created spoke to everybody.
They took their flaws, and that's what.
Yeah, that's what. I
mean,
made
Peter
it
Parker.
great.
Yeah, Peter Parker was a science nerd, and he used his knowledge of science to build the web shooters.
To go out and save as many people as he could.
Bruce Banner had anger issues, and turns that into the Incredible Hulk. You take the flaw, and that's what the hero became.
Yeah, and that's what spoke to me, and like I said in the video that I shot, Stan created characters that will live throughout time, that I got to grow up on, that I know my father got to grow up on, that my children got to grow up on, and I'm hoping I live long enough to see grandkids, and that I can bring them into that world. And we've said it before during the week, and you know, there's not an adult out there who can't go to a Spider-Man movie and go, I remember growing up on that. I truly believe that, at least for our generation, that we can't go see a movie like that and go, you know what, that's a comic book that I grew up on. So acceptance, for me, it's acceptance. He wanted everyone to be accepted, and there's a Stan soapbox that I've posted on Facebook numerous times talking about bigotry. If you don't find it, I encourage you to go find it and read it, because much like the opening to Mondays, and then the Defenders trailer, that Stan soapbox from like 72 or 73 speaks volumes about his view on the world.
And let's see, for me, I was at work when the message came in over our chat, and I had gotten called into work. And, you know, having a fairly decent day, work, and then get this, and it's like, oh no, I'm not in. I was a very angry person, but yet still had to deal with the members, and you know. But I grew up, you know, with Spider-Man. I had, you know, the cartoons, some of the comic books. I didn't, you know, really get a whole lot of comic books and stuff growing up, and as I got a little bit older, I kind of transitioned from, you know, Spider-Man, that yeah, he was still cool, but he didn't quite resonate with me, to Captain America, that, you know, this is what I want to be.
Captain America, just that's it's a whole nother level. You know, he exemplified courage and honor and respect in a way that Superman identifies truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and then, of course, as I got a little bit older after that, kind of drifted a little bit away from Captain America to where it's now like the Punisher is then for, you know, growing up, and, you know, the issues that I had in the life that I lived, and it's, you know, Punisher kind of just stayed with me, and even today. But I mean, it was the thing. Stan had something for everybody. It didn't matter what your life was, or how you were living it, or how it was being lived. You could find someone in his catalogs of work that either you could associate with, you could resonate with, you could identify with, or you could look at and go, that is the type of person I want to be.
You mentioned like Bob Kane and Schuster and Siegel, where they created characters. You know, like Bob Kane, known for creating Batman, and Siegel and Schuster for Superman, where Kirby and Lee are known for creating the Marvel universe.
Yeah, they created the whole universe, which that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But go on.
But yeah, so, you know, but it's just the type of thing that with, you know, he was the type of person that just, like if you're into music, you know, you've got Johnny Cash, you got David Bowie, you got Freddie Mercury. These are people that, if you're in music, these are one of a kind,
transcend the style.
Once in a lifetime icons. These are people that no matter your taste or style in music, you know that name. You know at least one of their songs. And Stan Lee was kind of the same way, that it was there's never going to be another person like him.
No, there's not.
At least not for generations. It's just his influence is so all-encompassing, so vast that it's his law. Our loss is something that is going to be felt across many mediums for many years to come.
Yeah, it's no secret that DC and Marvel are rivals as far as things go. And there's a quote on Sci-Fi about authors that took, not authors but companies that remembering Stan Lee and what he did. And the biggest one was from DC. The first one came out publicly on the Hollywood Reporter, which was the cast of the original Avengers. The second was Marvel and Disney Entertainment. But the third one, or the fourth one, was from DC Comics. And DC Comics said the following: DC Comics mourns the loss of our treasured friend and comic book visionary. Stan's greatest legacy of all may be that he made even the smallest of us feel like heroes. And it's true. I mean, like Curtis said, there was something in the Marvel universe for you. I mean, for heaven's sake, the Fantastic Four had a Jewish monster. Ben Grimm is a Jewish monster, but that's something someone can relate to, because in the 60s he had to go through the persecution of people not liking him, both for the way he looked and the way his religious beliefs was. And then Luke Cage had that because he was black, and then the mutants because they were mutants. They were different.
Even Spider-Man, just because he was a nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to make that comic book today, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I don't think any of those comic books could today. Well, the mutants could probably work today, but Spider-Man, I don't think could.
I mean, you'll always have persecution out there for something that's different. I mean, that's just human nature. That's just human nature. But being studious is an acceptable thing now. I mean, to make Spider-Man now, you would have to make him.
You'd almost have to make him a jock or a drug addict,
or a trans person, or just something that is not yet 100% culturally accepted. Something. And we're talking about a kid that climbs walls and swings on ropes
and has the proportional strength and speed of a spider.
And just. I mean, we're talking about. I don't know. I mean, there's so many thoughts that are floating around my head, and finding words for them is just not
it's
coming
difficult.
to me the way I want it to.
A lot of it is talking now. Is I have been okay all week. I really have. And today, just hearing you two say what you had to say is bringing up the rawness again. And
I think the same. We all three of us hit one point in different ways, and that is, that was Stan's message, was that there is a hero in all of us, and you just everyone has their flaws, and it's a matter of what you do with those flaws. You can turn your flaw into something great, and
unless you're Steve Rogers, he was flawed to begin with, and then he became.
And then a serum made him perfect.
Then he goes punches Nazis in the face.
Yeah. But just, I mean, just that message that yes, here are these superheroes in a funny book, but that the real message that all of these characters were trying to convey is they are you.
Yeah.
You are the hero. You know,
I just
do something with that.
the biggest telltale of the last 20 years, as far as Marvel goes, is the 9/11 comic book.
Oh wow, yes.
That hits really hard. Parting thoughts, real quick. Parents, if you're out there and you've got kids, get them into comics. Let them read a comic. Go to a comic shop nearby.
Especially
and,
the classics.
Yeah, and just let them discover it too. That's my parting little shot.
Yeah, buy the omnibus.
Yes, by the
Yes.
omnibus. Yes.
So, you know, what are your thoughts, guys? How did Stan Lee touch your life? Put that down in the comments below.
Yep. Continue to follow us across the social media platforms. There's the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter.
And make sure you guys continue to comment, like, share, and subscribe.
And while you're on the Facebook,
You can pick up one of our shirts. They're $20 for a short sleeve, $22 for a long. You can pick up a hoodie for $25. Just send us a private message and let us know what size you need, what color of shirt, and what color of text. We'll get that process started for you.
we're back to our normal schedule on Monday. So
Thank you guys for sticking with us through our Stan week.
we're gonna go get each other tissues now and
Get a big group hug.
get a big group hug. So we'll see you guys on Monday.
Excelsior.
Hello?
Yes, hi. I would like to place an order for a large Russian clips of the day.
No problem. Would you like fries with that?
Поехали. Так. Что происходит у тебя, Жек?
Это у меня супер стирка.
Да?
Да. Новый метод.
Метод походный. Да? Походно-рабочий. Не отвлекаясь от процесса стройки, решили постирать свою робу.
О,
Смотри, руку не постирай.
давай, давай. О, стерла мать.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you liked what you see, go ahead and click on our faces to go ahead and subscribe to get all of our Monday through Friday stuff.
Indeed. And here's a couple of links down below that you can follow to watch more shows like it. Tons of great content right here at Scallywag Productions. We'll see you tomorrow.